Let's see if we can find it. Let's see if we can get it. Ah, he got it. Good boy, Willie. You see that? See that? All right. You're a good boy, Willie. This is the chicken wire that I'm so proud of that took me a little bit of effort to find anyway. It's 1/2-inch chicken wire. This is how chicken wire, I believe, was made back in the old days. I think in Europe, this size is still made, but in the US, it's all 1-inch chicken wire. This is 1/2-inch chicken wire. And I've got 2 ideas behind using the chicken wire on the stair rail. Number one, someday I hope to have little grandkids running around up here. If somebody hit one of those balusters hard enough, you could probably break it. And the chicken wire is insurance that if one of those ever broke by a child, by one of my grandkids or somebody like that, they couldn't fall through it. The chicken wire is going to keep them from falling through it. On top of that, it's cool. It looks like something you would see around an old farm. It used to be very common in this corner of the world to have, to raise and sell commercial mink farms. Mink farms used to be everywhere. Then the bottom fell out of the mink market as it became oversaturated. So what I'm trying to say is the 1/2-inch chicken wire reminds me of something like that, I suppose, and that's why I want to put it out here in the shop. It's got to be unique. Everything I do has got to be unique, even if it doesn't always turn out the way that I want it to. So hopefully this way, with the chicken wire, it looks pretty cool. I'm going to start on this end first and do this a section at a time and just see if it looks right before I get too far into this. So. I believe I mentioned this before, but I once walked into an antique store where they had used this old 1/2-inch chicken wire on an old antique hutch, and I really liked the way it looked. So I spent the next few years trying to figure out where to get the 1/2-inch chicken wire. Now I have some, I want to use it. My original plan was not to use the 1/2-inch chicken wire on the stair rail, but I believe it can serve a couple different purposes. So here she goes.
Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video.
Whether you have a clinical mental health issue like depression or anxiety, or whether you're just a person like us trying to navigate life in the stressful world that we live in, BetterHelp gives you the tools to approach life in a different way.
Finding a therapist can be difficult, especially if you have limited options in your area. BetterHelp makes therapy affordable and accessible.
BetterHelp is a platform that makes finding a therapist easier because it's online. It's remote, and by filling out a few questions, BetterHelp can match a professional therapist to you in as little as a few days.
It's easy to sign up and get matched with a therapist. Go to our link in our description, betterhelp.com/redpoppy.
Remember that clicking the link helps our channel, but it also helps you get 10% off your first month with BetterHelp, so you can connect with a therapist and see if it helps you.
Because finding a therapist is a lot like dating, you can easily switch with no additional cost to you to find the one that works for you. You don't have to worry about insurance or who's in your network or anything like that.
So if you're struggling, consider therapy with BetterHelp. Click the link in the description or go to betterhelp.com/redpoppy. Thank you again, BetterHelp, for sponsoring today's video.
That's good. It's not as visible as I thought it was going to be.
Really the question is, these little strips I put across the top and the bottom. Do I do that the rest of the way?
What does it look like without it?
That?
I don't know. Do you have to put them up there or you just do it?
To me it looked too long and it kind of broke it up. So I don't know. I'm just wasting wood, but
I don't think you have to unless you have it already. Do you have enough?
yeah. I'll put those strips across and I'll touch. There's some spots I'm gonna have to touch up for sure, but I'm done painting. So that's our shop. This auger that I bought for this skid steer was originally set up for an excavator. So I wasn't giving the mounting plate when I purchased the auger, but I didn't pay anywhere near as much as I would have if it had that mounting plate. So now I get to build the mount that works on the skid steer. I've had many experiences around the ranch when I needed a very specific tool, and when I went to use it, it either failed under pressure or may not have been qualified for the job. I consciously made a decision at some point a while back to stop putting myself in those situations and to have the right equipment and the right tools when I need it. So I don't want cheap attachments for my skid steer that are going to break doing the kind of work that we do around here. So the skid steer mount for the auger really needs to be pretty heavy duty. Hardwood floor. Wah, 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 Because this auger did not come with the proper mounting frame for the skid steer, I initially got online to see if I could find something that would work, and I did find something, but it was around $500, and I could see that with a little bit of steel and a little bit of time I could build something equally as good, if not better. The shop is much better set up now for a project like this, and I could have used the shop and my MIG welder to build the frame for the auger. But I'm not ready to get the shop that kind of dirty. The kind of dirty that comes with welding and grinding steel really is specific to a steel shop, and I don't know how soon I'm going to be doing a project like that inside the shop now that the shop is close to being finished. But regardless of where I'm at, I also like working outside, and especially under the shade of the trees. While it is a hot summer day, it's also very obvious to me that it's starting to cool off, and soon enough, I'm going to be wishing for a hot summer day. So I'm going to work outside every chance I get until there's snow on the ground. it doesn't hurt so bad if you use the right tools for the job.
Hi, Wooby.
Really got it all muddy for you.
Come sit down. Come sit.
Scoot. Scoot over a tiny bit.
Come on.
There we go.
Come on. Madoke. Madoke.
All right, let's go do
Hello,
this.
Miss Prince. You gonna stay here?
You can stay. Stay there, Ruby. Stay. Stay. It's time to start putting in the rest of the fence, and I want to establish where the 25-foot minimum is, so I can make sure I don't go any closer to the road than that. But I think I'm actually going to be a little bit further away as we go up the hill. So Cedar's going to hold the tape, walk down the center line. I'm going to put the markings, at least giving me the minimum boundaries. So. What we just did really didn't accomplish a whole lot more than showing me that I got plenty of room to work with. So now we just need to pick where the boss wants the fence to go.
The boss.
The boss.
Isn't that you?
So we're gonna do these railroad ties all the way up to the other driveway, and then there's gonna be some gates up there. And we want to look like it was all done at the same time, I guess. So. All the way up, go close to 100 feet. I got
Hold this.
100-foot roll. Going. Hang on, please. Hang it up. Okay. Well, that's the 10-foot spans. I think I'm gonna move it over. This tree, I think I've been putting off. Look how many times it's gotten rubbed into. The tree's gonna have to go, which means I wanna bring the fence closer. The idea is over the driveway that we're gonna have two 10-foot gates, and that hopefully they're sitting high enough that the snow doesn't mess with them. But that's the 10-foot span, so I'm gonna go closer. I would like to go close
To that tree.
go over closer, don't you think?
Yeah. Kind of curve it around.
Yeah.
Then.
I don't want any more, because of this driveway, I don't want any, I'd rather have it on this side of the fence, I guess, so the whatever grass there is, the animals can handle it, I guess. But that's the span.
You want it close to this edge? I mean, because
Not
you
too,
don't want.
I think I'll come in like this, not too close, because I'm going to have to walk along that and
Or mow it or whatever.
That's what I mean.
You can do.
with the weed eater and mow it. So. All right, I think we got her. Thanks for the compass in my life. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Knuckles? What do you want me to do? Peace
You
out.
saluted me.
Yes, sir. Aye, aye, Captain.
Knuckles, give me a break.
My lovely wife Cedar is always available to help when I need help or to simply offer perspective when I need perspective. And I wouldn't want to be doing what we've done with anybody but her. But even after doing YouTube, as long as we've done YouTube, when the camera comes on, sometimes it can be hard to be your true self. Both Cedar and myself have struggled with this. And of course, she picks her moments when she wants to be on video. But either way, I couldn't imagine getting as far as we've gotten without her by my side along the way.
Okay, I can see that a few of those I went too deep, and tomorrow I'm going to get out here and get every one of those posts plumbed up, and then now I know I don't have to go quite so deep to get it where I want it, so I have a little bit of room at the top of the fence. I want to have about a 4-inch to 6-inch gap above the top of the 5-foot tall fence. So. Well, it didn't twist right off the front of the bucket like I thought it was going to. So there's some serious torque on that thing at times. So so far so good. I don't see any cracks or twists, but we're not done. So we will see. I need to paint it as well.
I know it's important to Cedar that I leave as many of these trees as I can, especially down front, right here close to the road. This is the area where both of us would like to have as many trees as we can. So this should be the last tree that has to come down. But up on the hill, in order to make this new pasture work, I'm still going to have to cut down a whole lot of young trees. But this particular tree just happened to be sitting right where I intend to put the corner post for the gate. So the tree had to come out. So after spending the last 7.5 years of my life trying to develop the side of a mountain covered in maple trees, I can now say that if I had done the same thing on flat ground, not only would I have been done a long time ago, but it would not have been anywhere near as entertaining, for me at least. Flat ground is boring. There's nothing original being done on flat ground because it's all been done before. Living on the side of a mountain, you have to use your head and think out of the box on how you're going to make things work. Fortunately for me, I come from a long line of hillside dwellers, at least on one side of my family. So after spending hundreds of hours moving hundreds of yards of dirt from one side of the new property to the other to give us more usable flat ground, we are finally ready for fencing. But because we're on the side of a mountain, it can be extra hard to do things, especially fencing. So using the skid steer and the new auger, from the seat of the skid steer, my back feels much better. But I still have to muscle the railroad ties around a little bit. But using the railroad ties and the lodgepole pines along with the no-climb horse fence, this should be a one and done fence for a very, very long time. And the frame that I built for the auger seems to be holding up just fine. Come on. That boy, Johnny. Sheep eat right. Hang on to seat you. Oh, wow, that did not look fun. This sheep's been flapping people all day. Full extension into the sheep. It's gentle, it's calm, it's not allowed to say. Every small town has its perks, regardless of where it's located. But I'm going to tell you about the small towns out west. Because this time of year, you've got everything from rodeos to local county fairs. And if you pay attention, you can see some of your old favorite country singers from the 90s for pretty cheap. We live in a special place and we love it here. And the summer times make the winters worth putting up with. We had the opportunity this year to go to the local rodeo with two of Cedar's brothers, one of her sisters, and a whole bunch of nieces and nephews. Another thing that comes out of the small towns, family. I should probably mention that out of all of the different types of fencing that we have around our property, the front fence was the only fence that was not damaged by the heavy wet snow that we got over the winter.
Well, I'm a honky-tonk nighthawk.
I say this stuff all the time, but this is 4 foot by 100 foot no climb horse fence, and I used to pay about $60 a roll for this stuff. I now pay $200 a roll for this stuff. So hopefully I don't have to buy a whole lot more than what's going to be across the front of our house. But it is good, effective fencing when it comes to animals, especially goats. I've probably spent more time working with no-climb wire than I have with anything else, even barbed wire. I've put this kind of fencing around a few different homes that we've had over the years, so I've worked with it and I've stretched it a number of times. And because of the curvature that we have in this fence line, I have to stretch it in sections. I have found that using a couple of 2x6s screwed together and then C-clamps for insurance, I can now stretch the fence without bending or damaging the wire. So slowly and carefully as I put tension on the fence, I lift it and adjust it so it's pulling evenly, and again not damaging any of the fence as it gets hung up on little rocks or sticks. Once I do that a couple of times, I can then nail it off with fencing staples to the railroad ties. Driving the galvanized fencing staples into the railroad ties is not my favorite thing to do in the world because those railroad ties can be awful hard. I would love to figure out a better way to secure the fence to the railroad ties, but once those staples are in, they're not coming out.